Hello, dear student. Very good evening to all of you. So, welcome to our live answer writing sessions. Today, we are going to see the question that examine the various factors that led to the emergence of socio-religious reform movement in 19th century of India, and how did this movement contribute to the growth of nationalism. This is what you have to write in 10 minutes, 10 mark, and 150 words. So, your time starts now. So, after completing your answer writing, please submit within 5 minutes. So, please start. चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं. Examine the various factors led to the देखो this question first you have to the moment you are getting a question, so everything is okay na, my screen everything visible. Okay, video is visible now. So the moment you are getting a question, so first you have to identify the area or what are the sector or what are the things they are asking. So first part of your answer it is asking is, so examine the various factors that led to the emergence of social religious reform movement. So we are going to discuss about the factor now. Factors for SRM. So this is what you have to identify from the question. And second part is how this movement is contribute to the nationalism. So second part is how SRM, social religious reform movement, led to the nationalism. This is what you have to discuss. So first, a national progress depends on the social reform. In the 19th century, social religious reform movement emerged to remove social evil and promote unity, awaken Indians. Okay, this is good. So why you are writing A? You should not write anything in the margin. हेमंत का आंसर बड़े अच्छा होता है हमेशा. ठीक है. So factor that led to the emergence of socialist reform movement. So first one is printing press and education, and educating middle class help spread of reform idea among the peoples. Okay, so you can check about printing press and education among the middle class led to the spread of rapid spread of awareness, education and all. Okay, so थोड़ा सा point को you can write printing press and education, then you can talk about नहीं ना heading. This should be your heading, then explain that. So British rule and missionary criticism emerge, reform in society and religion. This is also very good. Social evil like sati, child marriage, caste discrimination, untouchability, uh, create a rigid society that prevent growth of India. So they wanted reform. Western education, देखो, you have repeated, देखो, this is what you have repeated ना, repetition of points. Avoid करके you should write 1.1 theme, okay? And you have to explain more points also. Here you need to explain more points. Already I have told you, I think, multiple points, so please go through it. Okay, I think some of the points you have clubbed, so you can separate that as a British rule, then Christian missionaries, so you can write separately. Then social level point is good, then printing, role of printing press and education, you can separate that also. By that way you can write more than 5-6 points. Okay, थोड़ा सा इसको ध्यान रखना, ये एक पॉइंट्स आपका हो गया, सेकंड पॉइंट्स दोनों को सेपरेट कर लो. 3, 4. So next, movement that contributed to the, नहीं ऐसे मत लिखो, how SRM movement contributed or the way SRM movement contributed for the nationalism. So organizers like Brahmo Samaj, Arya Samaj established inspired freedom movement. They give self confidence to the people. You can talk about it gives self confidence, belief in the people. The next is spread of modern education. Yes, political awareness. This is also good. Promote social unity by opposing caste discrimination and supporting women education. Yes, you can write this caste point separately. You can write this women point separately. Then you can write about religious reform, because religious earlier used to do everything, but now religious, they use religious positively to bring contribution reform to our society and promote nationalism also. So conclusion is missing. You can talk about the religious reform also. Religious reform, so that brought about brotherhood. Brotherhood led to the nationalism. So caste separately and the women also separately. Then ठीक है, वही सब चीजें लिखना है. बट आपने कुछ बहुत सारी चीजें मिस करवा ली जो आपको होना चाहिए, सो बिकॉज ऑफ दैट देयर विल बी डिडक्शन ऑफ मार्क्स. And while evaluating, I'm going to do very harsh marking. Okay,
ओके सर.
need improvement. Okay, chalo. So 19th century social religious reform gave the start of religious renaissance to the Indian society. A different leader across the Indian contributed to this as a result of enlightened individual from the Western idea. थोड़े से सिंपल करके लिख लो, इतना इतना स्टेटमेंट को कॉम्प्लेक्स मत बनाओ. You can say that with coming of the Britisher and defeat by a big nation, so that create an awakening among the enlightened sections led to the starting of social religious reform movement, and its implication is very wide. ऐसा like very simple introduction you should write. Okay, good. It's not bad, good, but it should be, but make it very simple. देखो, one thing I believe in life, simplicity is ultimate sophistication. अगर आपको कोई बड़े सिंपल से चीजें बता रहा है ना, तो दैट मीन्स दैट पर्सन इज हैविंग लॉट ऑफ नॉलेज. अगर आपको कोई चीजें बहुत कॉम्प्लेक्स करके बताया, वो रट्टा हुआ है. दैट इज व्हाट आई बिलीव. सो फैक्टर दैट रेस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर रिफॉर्म, SRM, social religious reform movement. You have to write completely what reform. So the impact of British rule gave new cultural identity to perceive the religious and social aspect. I think heavy word लिख रहे हो, उसका meaning थोड़ा clearly बताओ. So you can say impact of British rule led to the re-questioning of our culture, our religion, everything. So that is what led to the thinking about the past. The social ill like child marriage, sati, gave ignite to the intellectual class like Raja Ramamohan Rai. Baba, link karo how they have started this movement. No doubt you are writing whatever I write, but you should link that. ना ये किसका कॉपी आई थिंक अपर्णा आई थिंक ना.
Yes, sir.
थोड़ा सा सिंपल करके लिखो और लिंक करो डिमांड जो क्वेश्चंस का है, तो उस बेसिस पे आपको लिखना है ना. Then a rigid caste system was coming in between a road to renaissance, or you can say acting as a hurdle in development of India. So they want to remove to being development. So opposed to the Western practices by education, Indians gave rise to the modern. Yes, this is good. This is also good, but little bit of if you modify your answer, so that is what makes sync as per demand of the question. So that is what my suggestion. ये थोड़ा सा improvement चाहिए. अपन ना समझ पा रहे हो, नहीं समझ पा रहे हो.
Yes, sir.
वेरी सिंपल, मतलब आंसर को वेरी सिंपल रखो, टू दी पॉइंट रखो, सो दैट इवैल्यूएटर को कोई परेशान ना हो जाए ना. इम्पैक्ट ऑफ movement, you have to write impact of social movement on nationalism, on growth of nationalism. That is what core demand. We are not concerned about the impact only. देखो आपने, दिस इज व्हाट कॉल्ड मिसिंग द कॉन्टेक्स्ट. मतलब क्वेश्चन में कुछ भी पूछा है, मुझे तो पता है, मैं लिखूंगा. दिस इज नॉट आस्क इन योर क्वेश्चन ना, आउट ऑफ कॉन्टेक्स्ट. ठीक है. वुमेन एजुकेशन लीडर लाइक ज्योतिबा फुले, ठीक है. various girls school, and देखो you have to link so with empowerment of the women, so they participated in national movement. For example, all India women conference, some of the leader who participated like Sarojini Naidu, then you can say about Usha Mehta. There's so many then बहुत सारे लोग होते हैं जो they participated and contributed for the growth of nationalism. The reform gave political consciousness to the Indians. Yes, this is also good. So that is what led to the development. Good. So reform the social strata society help in. आपने एक्चुअली मिसअंडरस्टूड कर दिए क्वेश्चंस को. इम्पैक्ट ऑफ सोशलिस्ट रिफॉर्म मूवमेंट, नो, इट इज क्लियरली रिटन ग्रोथ ऑफ नेशनलिज्म. दिस इज व्हाट कीवर्ड्स. अगर अगर कीवर्ड्स को गलत गलत कर दिए फिर खत्म ना. सो रिलीजियस रिवाइवल थ्रू Deoband, no, this is what not demand actually. We have missed the context.
सर आपका वाईफाई ऑन कर दीजिए.
ओके ओके, सॉरी सॉरी. वाईफाई तो ऑन है.
वीडियो आपका बफर हो रहा है थोड़ा.
Let me check. Let me check. Now it is. In the society that led to the awakening, empowerment, and which ultimately help in growth of nationalism. Conclusion में ऐसे type के you have to write. Need improvement. Okay. पढ़ नहीं रहे हो, क्लियरली दिख रहा है आप लोग घर पे पढ़ते ही नहीं हो। जैसे ही क्लास खत्म हुआ खा लो सो जाओ और फिर नेक्स्ट डे आ जाओ। गजब है। ठीक है, चलो नेक्स्ट कॉपी देखते हैं। सो 19th century movement, the 19th century socio-religious reform movement emerged as a response to the social evil and colonial influence। ठीक है, स्मॉल है, इम्पैक्टफुल है, टू द पॉइंट है। स्मॉल इट इम्पैक्टफुल, that is what we need. We don't need a right introduction in a big, small introduction is also enough। So factor behind the emergence of very good way, and I add some points here, just like spread of western educations। So equality, liberty, Christian missionary, okay, Indian society and religious देखो, criticism, okay, religious and social practice hati, caste discrimination, so we need to reform that। Something you have to link whatever you are saying, you have to link, not all point, one or two point you have to link, eh? Caste critics, rigid caste system, hierarchy and untouchability hinder the national growth, so you have to link one or two points। ले बाबा खत्म। Contributions to the nationalism, क्या करें तुम लोग को। तीन भी एक पार्ट भी नहीं है। The social reform movement in 19th century India emerged in response to the social evil and colonial influence and intellectual awakening। देखो बहुत अच्छा है, बहुत अच्छा इंट्रोडक्शन है। Then factor responsible for emergence of socialist reform movement, religious and social practices। वेरी गुड, देखो कितना अच्छा हुए में चाइल्ड मैरिज, ठीक है। Then prevalent of untouchability, देन इम्पैक्ट ऑफ वेस्टर्न एजुकेशन, आइडिया ऑफ जस्टिस। ठीक है, देखो ये चीजें सेल्फ एक्सप्लेनेटरी हो जा रहा है मेरे लिए ना, इट्स लाइक ऑटोमेटिकली एक्सप्लेनिंग मी। इम्पैक्ट ऑफ ब्रिटिश रूल, so add something how it is impacting, little bit of one or two points। So growth of nationalism, देखो how or SRM led to the nationalism, or how reform movement, socialist reform movement promoted nationalism। You have to write the heading, little bit of detail। The above factor help a lot of, जरूरत नहीं ये चीजों को, you can this thing you can club with your point and single heading you can prepare। Factor led to the growth of, or how SRM movement help in growth of nationalism। So though Ramakrishna mission, Brahmo Samaj, Indian culture heritage preserve and started encouraging by Britisher। ये क्या है, उसका मतलब क्या है? You can say by systemic reading of our past, we are developing the self-respect। You can write like that। So next is women empowerment. Status of the women increase, abolition of sati। So they've later on created All India Women Conference. They participated in national movement। You have to link a little bit, na? You have to link a little bit, okay? So promotion of social unity by opposing caste discrimination। So the people from the lower caste, they also joining the national movement। ठीक है, तो पॉइंट्स यहाँ पर ऐड करना पड़ेगा, एक्सप्लेन करना पड़ेगा थोड़ा सा। Socialist reform movement transform Indian society and help in growth of nationalism. Very good. क्वेश्चन को चिपका दो यहाँ उठा के ना. वही तो क्वेश्चन में था. In history, one thing that you can do is in your conclusion, link with the future. You can say this SRM, nationalism, independence. Nationalism के पहले independence, you can say growth of nationalism among all section. So strong freedom movement, then freedom. You have to link in your conclusion. So generally in history, our conclusion will link something happen in present with the future. जैसे for example, conclusion of the Swadeshi movement. You can link that Swadeshi movement, though it is not or fails to achieve its objective of everything, but generally given impetus for further emergence of larger mass movement like NCM, CDM, Quit India movement. So you have to link. सबसे best तरीका वही होती है. And starting, you have to give the context why this has happened. For example, socio-religious reform movement is started because of British coming and all this defeat, all this awakening. So anything you can start with the context also, introduction. So हमेशा introduction में context and conclusion में future. Remember करो, by default you can write, if you are having some unique conclusion introduction, you can write that. ठीक है, आगे बढ़ा जाए.